Well, it was around November 2004 where Third Estate started kind of going south. We were very unhappy with Kevin Clark, School of Rock drummer, and we had a show in Milwaukee opening for He Who Corrupts in Tower of Rome, which was one of our biggest shows ever, and we stunk up the joint. We were awful. And we rode back, illegally piled into a van that only had 2 actual seats. And I think we really were silent most of the time, me and Chris and Kevin, because Josh had already left. And it just wasn't fun anymore. So we never played a show after that except the reunion show we did in July, but we never practiced again. We attempted to do a soundstage demo that year, and that was also a miserable failure, and by the beginning of January, Chris Trindle quit and joined Murder Midnight. Will Thompson from Driven to Stereo had been kind of pestering me to do a band with him ever since Driven to Stereo had played their last show in August of 2004 when Ben Babbitt was supposed to move to Germany, came back 2 weeks later and started This Is Cinema. He said he'd been jamming with Pierce from Driven to Stereo and Chase Baumgarten of 7th Grade Underdog, and they had broken up in May of 2004 after being a very successful band in the Chicagoland scene, playing Metro twice. So I remember one day we had scheduled something, and I kind of made up some excuse so I didn't have to go because I thought it was going to be a whole lot of nothing. And I went. So then they talked me into coming. I went there with had my bass, had my amp. We learned our first song. This was at the time I was actually the bassist as well as the singer. We jammed on the first song, and I said, okay, well, this is a good side project to what Third Estate will turn into. 3 days later, Third Estate didn't even exist, so I kept practicing with them. It was weird at the time because I wasn't supposed to be using my car because due to a community service thing, my dad had taken my car away from me except for work, so I had to sneak around to get to practice. So we just, we practiced that one song for about a month and a half, and then finally said, oh, we should write some other ones. Then we wrote another song, and we scheduled our first show to kind of light a fire underneath us to get us started. And then we were about a month away from our first show. We were at another Yo show, just kind of hanging out, and I met Mike. And Will I had told Will that I wanted just to sing. I thought that would be a big change and it would really make the band better. And he said, well, maybe Mike will do it. Because Mike wasn't a bassist. He owned a bass and he had his friend's amp, which he kept at his house, but he wasn't a bassist. So we asked him to come join us. He did, and we had our first show on April 16th of 2005 at the Winnetka Yo with, I don't remember the other bands. I remember This Is Cinema being there. At the beginning we all got along. Probably by the third show, which was, I believe that was May 7th, which was in Orland Park. That's when there started being tension between. There'd always been a little bit of tension between Chase and Will, just because Chase had wanted to take the band in a much more screamo direction, and he was kind of disappointed that I wasn't going to do that. And Will was very happy with what I was doing, and liked that we'd somehow found a middle ground between being some sort of straight indie band and straight pop punk band. So there started being more tension with them. Eventually, we had written a song, the week after our first show. We just went in and wrote a song in a day. And which became Hats Off Highland Park. And we just could not write together after that, because Will and Chase just had such differing ideas. Every riff that Will came up with, Chase wouldn't even let us hear, because they practiced every day. I would come in twice a week and do vocals just because I had work. But they just could not get along songwriting-wise, which is really affecting what we were doing. And it kind of snowballed from there to where we all started having a lot of problems with Chase, including when kind of the thing that started driving the nails into his coffin as far as this band went was when he went up to Mike. Mike was wearing like a pop punk, like Tom DeLonge hat, because Mike does that. He wears Dickies stuff and stuff like that because he's on kind of a ska kid. Chase went up to him, ripped the hat off, and said, "You will never wear that in here again," because Chase was obsessed with our image. That's where it became, like at that moment, it became the band versus Chase, and that had led to him being kicked out in early June.
And then your major musical influences again.
Major musical influences. I'd go with stuff like Saves the Day, Hey Mercedes, Braid, Death Cab for Cutie, Lifetime, Weezer, of course. Just a lot of stuff. I mean, we all take different influences. You know, with Pierce, you know, I don't really know where he gets drumming influences, because drumming influences come from anywhere, because that's not really pertinent to the style of music. Peter listens to a lot of jazzy kind of stuff, and that's where he gets a lot of his fills from. Will loves everything from Under Oath to Saves the Day to all the stuff I just mentioned. Mike's much more of an indie guy, huge Radiohead fanatic, and I'm more of the I'm a sucker for old school pop punk and just songs about life instead of songs about like what your brain does when you hit it with a hammer or something. I'm much more of a down-to-earth guy, so I think that it's a great mix, because it's not a mix where everyone clashes. It's a mix where it all gels and it's not. We all compromise, but it's not a compromise made out of bitterness.
All right, yeah. Woo. So this is my second year doing this. Last year I placed second with the Claustrophobics. Thank you. And this next song's our newest one. This one's for someone. It's called Darlaluz.
That's Spanish. I'm going now, if everyone's ready.
All right. On the sound of mistletoe Christmas, and all my junior high dance classes, 'cause I was too busy writing, forgetting to start trying, living life without a letter. Reality was always better. I've been thinking about the girl of my dreams. Today I'll find a letter. Darling, she said, as she handed me a match, and all shadows shed, like a blood consequence. And my enchanted mistress, can you feel anticipation in my bed? Of first of Christmas, your hands are mine. To find me a reason for me to exist. Your knockers rain by stanzas. Too much of a free spirit to be locked in to an endless search for an ironic play on words. And now I'm finally able to cut loose of all the cables. Those awful club-ready choruses turn my punchlines into fables. I don't want to dance anymore. I want to take this off the tongue to some little nook secluded where we'll be easily ignored. Oh, I will be sleepless, dropping forever on the certain road. I'll scream, I'll shout, I'll let God let it out. I finally found someone worth writing about. the blade black infinite night. I ask of you to give